Hi. This is going to be a podcast filled with spoilers. If you want more detailed information, please read the book. So let's start.
Dr. Michael Newton's Journey of Souls.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, you're clearly interested in the spiritual world and what happens after death.
Big questions.
Well, get ready for some incredible concepts. Soulmates, guides, spiritual classrooms, even a shower of healing.
Dr. Newton's work really is incredible. He used hypnotherapy, to explore what people experience between lives in the spirit world.
So like past life regression kind of thing.
Exactly. And through that, he learned a ton about the soul, how it develops, the whole purpose of reincarnation.
Wow. Okay, so like right after death, what happens?
Well, one of the most interesting things is dying isn't the same for everyone.
I guess that makes sense.
Some souls, especially if the death was sudden or traumatic, they can be a bit disoriented,
Understandably.
confused, even angry. It's a shock. Imagine suddenly you're outside your body.
Oh, totally. That would be jarring. Like waking up in a foreign country, no idea how you got there.
Exactly. But luckily, there's support.
Oh, good. So it's not just a free fall into the unknown.
No, not at all. Most souls are greeted by loving beings, usually their guide or even a soulmate.
A welcoming committee.
I could say that. They provide comfort, helps the soul transition.
That makes me feel better. Now, I read about this shower of healing in the excerpts. What's that about? Everyone gets a spa day upon arrival.
It does sound nice, doesn't it? From what Dr. Newton's subjects describe, it's like a bath of purifying light. It washes away any negativity or trauma from their past life. A spiritual cleanse, if you will.
Wow, so it restores their energy, gets them ready for what's next.
Exactly.
I wonder if there are ways to tap into that energy here, in the physical world.
Interesting thought. Maybe through meditation or energy work.
Could be. But okay, back to the soul's journey. What happens after they're all cleansed and rejuvenated?
Then they move on to what Dr. Newton called the orientation phase.
Orientation, like in college. But for souls,
Kind of. It's like a debriefing session. The soul, usually with their guide, reflects on the life they just lived. Not about judgment, but understanding,
Gotcha.
Exploring the lessons learned, challenges overcome, even missed opportunities. They might even recreate scenes from their past life.
Like a replay. To process everything.
Exactly. And the guide is kind of like a therapist, helping them make sense of it all.
So it's not about dwelling on the past, but extracting the wisdom from it.
Exactly. Now, for the more advanced souls, this orientation might be less formal.
Okay, so they've been through it all before.
Many times. They have a deeper understanding, might not need as much guidance. Maybe they debrief later with some high-level spiritual teachers.
Makes sense. So it's tailored to each soul's, level of experience.
You got it.
That's amazing. Okay, so after orientation, where do they go?
From there, souls travel to what Dr. Newton called the staging area, a central point in the spirit world. And this is where the descriptions get really interesting.
How so?
Well, imagine trying to describe, say, a city to someone who's never seen one.
Okay, yeah.
You'd probably use words like buildings, streets, cars, right.
Makes sense.
But souls, when they try to describe the staging area, they use terms like currents, streams, clouds of energy.
Energy masses was one I saw in the book.
Yes, exactly. It shows how differently they experience reality. It's not physical like our world.
Wow, so it's totally beyond our normal perception.
Absolutely. But even though it's so fluid, there's still order and direction.
Not just chaos.
No. Souls are guided to their soul group, a cluster of like-minded souls who've shared many lifetimes together.
Soul groups. I love that concept. It's like your spiritual family, right?
Exactly. And they provide that sense of familiarity, belonging.
So what happens within these soul groups?
It's fascinating. Imagine a group of close friends, who've known each other for centuries, sharing stories, laughing, even teasing.
I love that, like cosmic best friends.
You could say that. They might project images, create scenarios, playfully tease each other, all to help them understand human life, learn from each other's experiences.
It's like a cosmic support group. Everyone gets it.
Exactly.
So cool. Now, do souls stay in the same soul group forever, or is there some kind of progression?
Great question. While soul groups are very supportive and flexible, they're usually made up of souls at similar levels of development.
Okay, that makes sense.
So as a soul evolves, their soul group might shift to reflect their growth.
It's like moving up grade levels in school as you learn.
A good analogy.
This is all so intricate. Okay, before we move on, I have to ask about the Council of Elders. They sound intimidating.
Oh, not at all. They're not there to judge.
That's good to hear.
It's more like a compassionate review board.
Okay.
They meet with souls after death and before rebirth.
So when does this meeting happen?
Well, they meet both after death to review the life just lived, and then again before rebirth to help plan the next one.
So the council helps with planning future lives.
In a way, yes. They offer guidance, help the soul align with their purpose. They look at the choices made, the lessons learned, what to focus on next time.
So it's not about being good or bad, but about understanding the purpose of each life, the lesson.
Exactly. Every life is an opportunity to learn, grow, evolve.
That takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
So what happens next? Does the soul just get sent back to Earth?
Not exactly. This is where things get really interesting. Souls actually get to choose their next life.
Wait, really? They get a say.
They do. Imagine being able to choose when and where you're born, the kind of life you'll lead. Pretty amazing, huh?
That's mind-blowing. How does that even work? Is it like a cosmic menu?
Well, not exactly a menu,
Yeah.
but it's definitely more immersive than that. Let me explain. Souls can actually view potential lives. It's like getting a glimpse, a taste of what it would be like to live in different bodies, different circumstances.
Whoa, like a sneak peek.
Exactly. They can experience snippets of the emotions, the challenges, the opportunities. It helps them make a more informed choice.
So it's not about picking a specific body, but choosing a whole life experience.
You got it. Souls consider things like the time period, location, even the social and cultural environment.
Wow. So they think about the whole package, huh? Like choosing the setting and cast for a play.
That's a good analogy. And even the types of people they might interact with, potential relationships.
Okay, but hold on. If souls are choosing their lives, including the challenges, where does free will come in?
Ah, yes. The age-old question. Dr. Newton definitely addresses that. It's not a simple either situation.
I figured.
It's more like there's a framework, right? Pre-existing conditions, karmic debts, lessons to be learned.
Okay, so those things kind of set the stage.
Exactly. But within that framework, the soul still has agency.
So like we're offered choices, but maybe our options are limited by certain factors. Kind of like you want to travel, but your budget and vacation time limit where you can go.
Precisely. And remember, the soul's perspective is much broader than ours.
Right, they're seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly. They might choose a life that seems difficult to us, with lots of challenges, because it offers specific opportunities for growth.
So like a soul might choose a life of poverty or illness because it offers something we don't see.
Yes. Their goals are focused on soul evolution, you see. They might be looking to develop compassion, empathy, resilience, things that are often forged through hardship.
That's deep. It makes you rethink what good and bad even mean when it comes to life experiences.
It's more about the soul's intention, what it's hoping to learn. Now, one important thing is the soul doesn't make these choices alone.
They get help.
Oh, yeah. They have guidance from their spiritual advisors, their guides, and they consult with their soul group. It's a collaborative effort.
Teamwork. Okay, that's reassuring. So before we go any further, remind me about soul levels. What are those again?
Think of soul levels as stages of spiritual development.
Gotcha.
Dr. Newton observed that souls progress through these levels. Each level is marked by a specific color aura.
Okay, what kind of colors?
He identified 6 main levels. It starts with beginner souls. Level 1, they have a yellow aura. And it advances all the way to level 6, which is a deep violet aura.
So the colors deepen as they evolve. What does the color tell us about the soul?
As souls evolve, their aura reflects their growing wisdom, compassion, understanding. It's like they're graduating to higher levels of consciousness. And that's reflected in how they interact in the spirit world.
Interesting.
For example, advanced souls, they often take on mentoring roles, guiding and supporting those at lower levels, like teachers sharing their wisdom, helping others navigate their journeys.
That's nice, like paying it forward, cosmic style.
Yeah.
So what are those beginner souls like, the ones just starting out?
Well, imagine being a freshman in college. You're suddenly in a new environment, everything's different. It can be overwhelming, right?
Totally.
Beginner souls are kind of in a similar state. They're still adjusting to the spirit world, grappling with their eternal existence.
Whoa. That's a lot to take in.
Right. They might cling to negative emotions from their past lives. Fear, anger, resentment. They haven't mastered moving on yet.
Makes sense. They're still learning the ropes. But with help from their guides and soul group, they get there eventually, right?
Absolutely. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you have those higher level souls, levels 4 and 5.
What are they like?
They're like the wise elders, they've seen it all, learned from their experiences. They radiate peace, wisdom, compassion. They've worked through their karmic baggage, and they understand how everything is connected. They're not so focused on their own needs anymore, more concerned with the well-being of others.
So they're not done learning, but their focus shifts
Yeah,
more outwards.
exactly. And many of them still choose to reincarnate.
Really? They come back. Why?
They often choose lives dedicated to service. Teachers, healers, artists, using their gifts to inspire and uplift.
Oh, wow. So their work reflects their spiritual strengths. That's fascinating.
It is. Now, the most mysterious level is level 6, those highly evolved souls.
Ooh, tell me about them. Are they like spiritual superheroes?
Think of them more like spiritual luminaries, shining their light on the universe.
Okay, I like that.
They're rare. Profound wisdom, deep connection to the source, complete mastery of their ego. They might not even need to reincarnate anymore.
They've reached enlightenment.
You could say that. They exist solely in the spirit world.
So they just chill in the spirit world, or do they still do stuff?
Many of them choose to serve as guides or teachers for other souls, sharing their understanding, helping others on their journey toward enlightenment.
Like ultimate mentors.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so we have these 6 main soul levels. But how do soul groups fit into all this?
Well, remember we talked about soul groups being like families that grow and evolve together?
Yeah.
That's a good analogy for how soul levels work within the groups. Generally, they're made up of souls at similar levels.
Right. That makes sense. Like you wouldn't have a kindergarten student in a high school class.
Exactly. And as a soul progresses through levels, their soul group might change.
Oh, okay. To reflect their growth.
Exactly. It's about finding the right learning environment.
Like switching schools as you move up grades.
Exactly.
This is so cool. Okay, so back to this whole life selection thing.
Yeah.
How do souls actually choose the specific details of their next life? What are they thinking about?
Well, remember that each soul has a unique purpose, lessons to learn, experiences they're seeking. They might choose a life that offers specific challenges, opportunities for growth, like designing a curriculum, but for their soul's education. They're not choosing randomly.
It's all very deliberate.
Exactly. And they take into account their karmic debts, the relationships they want to experience.
Oh, right. So they might choose a life to work through past karma, make amends, reconnect with certain souls.
Yes. It's like they're weaving a tapestry, each thread carefully chosen.
That's a beautiful image. So it's not just about choosing a life, it's about choosing the relationships and connections within that life.
You got it. It makes you realize that our relationships are more than just chance encounters.
Right. We might be interacting with souls we've known across many lifetimes. Whoa. So does it always go according to plan? Like, do souls always get the exact life they picked?
Dr. Newton found that there's a divine element at play.
Okay, interesting.
Think of it like you have a travel itinerary, but unexpected detours happen.
Yeah, that's life for you.
Right. Your guides or higher-level beings who see the bigger picture, they might suggest adjustments to make sure you're still on the right track for your soul's growth.
So it's a collaboration between our soul's will and some divine guidance, like a cosmic GPS that keeps rerouting you.
Exactly. And this is where guides are so crucial. They act as advisors, helping souls understand their choices, offering guidance.
They're like spiritual career counselors.
Yeah.
But what about free will then? If our lives are sort of pre-planned, how much control do we really have?
It's not a simple answer. It's more about recognizing that free will operates within a framework. Like I said before, there are predestined factors, possibilities, and limitations. We might not choose the cards we're dealt, but we choose how we play them.
So we have a hand in shaping our destiny, even if we don't control every aspect of it. Okay, I'm starting to get this. What about karma? Do souls choose lives to specifically work through karma?
That's a common idea, and it resonates with Dr. Newton's findings. He saw karma as a natural law, cause and effect. It's about learning, about balancing the scales.
A cosmic balancing act. So do souls choose lives to reconcile those karmic debts, to make amends?
Yes, sometimes they do. It's about taking responsibility for our actions, creating harmony in our soul's journey.
Okay, this is starting to click. Now, I have to ask about soulmates. Where do they fit into all of this?
Ah, soulmates. That's where things get really interesting. Get ready to explore the fascinating world of soulmate connections.
I'm ready. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Journey of Souls, and I'm really excited to talk about soulmates.
It's a fascinating topic for sure. We've covered so much already, the spirit world, those soul levels, how we even choose our lives.
I know. It's a lot to take in, but it's so intriguing. Okay, so soulmates. What did Dr. Newton find out about these special connections?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways is that we're not just randomly meeting people in each lifetime.
Okay, so there's more to it than that.
Definitely. We tend to reincarnate with the same group of souls over and over again. It creates these deep bonds that go beyond time and space.
Like the spiritual family. We were talking about soul groups earlier.
Exactly. And these soulmate connections, they can take many forms. Romantic partners, family members, close friends, even rivals.
Oh, wow. So it's not always hearts and flowers.
Not always, no. Sometimes those challenging relationships, they're the ones that help us grow the most. They teach us about forgiveness, acceptance, unconditional love.
It's like we're all in this cosmic play together, pushing each other to evolve.
You could say that. It's not about finding a soulmate who makes life perfect, but one who challenges us to become better versions of ourselves.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we recognize these soulmates? Is there some, secret signal?
I wish it were that easy. But it often involves this deep sense of familiarity, like you've known the person before, even if you haven't in this lifetime.
You just, click.
Yeah, there's an instant connection, a resonance, and you feel comfortable, at ease, like you can be yourself around them.
It's like coming home, but to a person.
Exactly. Now, what about those who haven't found their soulmate yet?
Yeah, that's a question I hear a lot. Is there something wrong with them?
Not at all. There's no timeline for these connections. They unfold naturally, sometimes in unexpected ways.
So no need to stress about it.
Exactly. Just focus on your own growth. Align with your soul's purpose. The more you connect with your true self, the more likely you are to attract those resonant connections.
So it's about becoming whole ourselves, not waiting for someone else to complete us.
Exactly. And remember, soulmates aren't always romantic. Those deep connections can exist in many forms. Friendships, family. Appreciate the ones you have and stay open to new ones.
Love that. Okay, so what about rebirth? Once a soul has chosen their next life, how do they actually get back into a physical body?
It's pretty mind-boggling, right?
It is. Does the soul just suddenly appear? Or is it more gradual?
Dr. Newton described it as a merging, a gradual integration of the soul's energy with the developing fetus.
So it's a gentle process.
Yes, more like a slow dance, and it starts even before birth. The soul begins to familiarize itself with the new body.
Wow. So our soul is there from the very beginning.
It seems that way, and it might even influence the body's development, even personality traits.
So we're not just physical, we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Exactly. It makes you wonder about those early childhood memories, those vague impressions.
Maybe they're glimpses of our soul's journey before birth.
Perhaps. Now, what about guides? What role did they play in this transition back to Earth?
Yeah, do they help the soul adjust? Are they holding their hand?
Yeah. Well, they don't physically enter the body with the soul, but they remain close, offering guidance, support. Think of them as spiritual mentors.
Always there to help, even if we don't see them.
Always. They might communicate through dreams, intuition, those sudden insights we get.
Like they're sending us messages.
Yep.
Okay, so if we choose our lives and our guides are there to help us, why is life still so hard sometimes?
That's the human experience, isn't it? We have these grand spiritual goals, but we're also bound by physical limitations.
It's like we're playing a game with tough rules.
Life can feel that way sometimes. But even in the challenges, there's always an opportunity for growth. Our struggles often help us develop our greatest strengths.
So it's not about avoiding pain, but learning from it.
Yes. And remember, we're never truly alone in those struggles. We have our guides, our soul group, a whole universe supporting us.
Like we're all in this together.
Exactly. Which brings us back to the core message of Dr. Newton's work. We're not just physical beings, we're souls on a journey. And through our experiences, we learn, we grow, we evolve.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's given me a whole new way of looking at life, death, everything.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's a reminder that there's so much more to our existence than meets the eye. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that journey doesn't end with physical death.
It just keeps going. Thank you for taking us on this journey with us.
It's been my pleasure. And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore these mysteries further.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Happy travels!